Welcome to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna. I spent years crafting ways to help women thrive, and I want to help you do the same. On this podcast, we dive deep into health at every level, focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. This is where real conversations meet transformational wellness. We'll be talking about all the things that truly matter, from nutrition and fitness to lifestyle, mindset, and personal development. Plus, the real deal on managing stress and navigating menopause. So if you're ready to elevate your health journey with authentic, transformative insights, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna. We're going to do something a little bit different today. This is kind of a bonus episode, if you will. We just spent a month going through the paradigm, and I want to wrap that up and focus on what I'm hoping you'll take away from it. But I also want to zoom out and get a bird's eye view of what we're doing here in UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk, what my overall philosophy is. Maybe I'll even tell you a little bit about myself. I'm trying to think if I've ever kind of told my story of how I even got into all of this. But a little looser today. And, we're getting ready to move into August. August, we're doing something really exciting that I'm excited to tell you about. But I want to pause and really reflect on what we're doing and where we've come, because I've spent a month on the paradigm, and I've talked a lot about identity, and we spent a month on metabolism and then strength, and we've got these. Well, I'm just gonna tell you now, we've got gut coming up in August. I'm gonna dive into sleep in September with other naturopathic doctors who are experts in these areas, who that's their main focus. And my intent is like foundations. There's so much out there. Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I fast? Do I not fast? And I like to talk about those myths, and I like to break all that down. But it always still comes back to the foundations. And the paradigm is a big part of that, as well as these foundational pieces of health that when people pile hormone therapy or GLP-1s or even supplements or other just diets, fancy diets, whatever, on top of a system that's not metabolically optimized and that hasn't done any mindset work, you don't get the same results. And I believe in results. And ultimately, I believe that women have been taught and have accepted too little. We've been taught to settle, to accept less, to lower our standards. And I'm not okay with that. I believe that women deserve more than just surviving and more than just fine. You all deserve to thrive. I mean, I believe everybody deserves to thrive, okay? But I mostly work with women, and I know a lot of my listeners, or most of my listeners are women. I believe everybody deserves to thrive. But women, you're more likely to put everybody else first, to maybe not see your worth, to lack the self-confidence. I know I used to really struggle with self-confidence for years, but people didn't see it on the outside because I was articulate and I was comfortable with public speaking, but I had imposter syndrome and I felt unconfident. That's the word, right? Anyway, and so these identity pieces, these paradigm pieces are huge. All right. We talked about the paradigms. We talked about the subconscious mind. We talked about why you keep getting the same results, no matter how hard you try or no matter what you know, right? Many of you, you've done the research, you've looked into the labs, you've done all the things, and you're just spinning. And you keep trying harder and harder. So I really hope, and I believe that something landed for you this last month. Because for me, I can tell you this work has changed everything. Not just my health, everything. Better mother, better friend, better wife, better doctor, more comfortable in my own skin, like all of the things. And so when we look at the paradigm, understand it's not an excuse, all right? It's an explanation. Just like if we can learn to look at the data we get from our results, don't get down on ourselves. Don't beat ourselves up about it. It's data. It's feedback. And that feedback, those explanations give you power. You aren't broken. You aren't lazy. Maybe sometimes, we all have lazy moments, but it's coming from a deeper place. You're not lacking willpower. You had a program installed before you had any say in it. All right. And that program can change. That is the whole point. And your gut health can change and your hormones can be assisted. Instead of just being told, you're fine, your labs are normal, suck it up. This is what menopause is going to look like, or this is what getting older looks like, or this is, you just had a baby and so, you're going to just be miserable or whatever. All of the excuses that we're constantly given in the medical industry, not all doctors, not all practitioners, but too many of them. It's a fear-based, disempowering system as a whole. All right. But you have power and control. And that's the whole point. You can thrive. You can put the right tools in place and do all of these things. So this is what I want you to carry into August and honestly the rest of the year. The reason your health results have been what they've been is not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you've been working at everything at the conscious level. The planning, the motivation, the information, the strategy without touching the subconscious program underneath. And now you know that. And knowing it changes everything. Because if we're only working within our own efforts, to try harder, do more, grind more, then we're subject to those limitations. We're just doing it on our own rather than tapping into something bigger that changes everything. And the daily practice matters, the goal card, the visualization, the affirmations, the catching and redirecting the talk, the changing your talk to be more positive, and more gentle and more loving, the way you would talk to someone else or a child. Keep going, even if it feels like nothing is happening. I'm doing the law of gender and gestation with my next level class. It's actually tomorrow, but by the time this airs, it will have already occurred. And it talks about that period. Like every seed has a gestation period. So your thought seeds of a better life, better health, all of those things have a gestation period. We don't know with thought seeds how long that is. With a pregnancy, we know it's 9 months. With a tomato, we know it's, I don't know, I'm not a gardener. I don't know how long tomatoes take, but we know these things. But with thought seeds, we don't know, but you can bet your ass, so to speak, that it is a seed, that you are planting seeds every day in your subconscious mind, and they will come to fruition on the outside. And so what do you want to water? Which garden do you want to water? Because it will grow. Even if it feels like nothing is happening, something is happening, right? Remember, the resistance means it's working. There's something happening. It could be the quiet before the fruit. It could be the calm beforehand. It comes in different forms, but you are planting and you will reap what you sow. So, didn't need to say so twice. And back to the control issue, before I got into paradigm work, when I was in college, again, I don't remember if I've told this story, so I'll just tell you how I got into this. I had gone to, that was after college. So in college, I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I thought I might want to be a doctor. And so I wanted to do biology and the pre-med things that you do to be a doctor. But I also loved theater, and I wanted to be a playwright and an actor and a director. And I loved the arts in that way. And I really didn't know. I was like, well, if I do theater, I have to live in probably like New York or LA. And I didn't really know if I wanted to do that. Although I did go live in New York for a summer and go to theater school, Circle in the Square. And that was amazing. But I had a big mountain dog, Malamute, Great Pyrenees, and Colorado was my home at the time. And so I was conflicted. So I ended up doing a triple major. It wasn't a triple major. It was like a make your own major. So I did biology because I thought, well, if I'm going to do med school, I can't just do theater. And then they'll be like, well, you don't have any science background. But if I just do pre-med and I want to go into acting or directing or playwriting, they'll be like, what are you doing? And so I put those together. And then I also threw French in the mix because I had been an exchange student in France and I was fluent and I wanted to keep my fluency. So I did a theater, biology, French combo major. I used to joke that it was kind of useless, right? I used to joke, I will be able to act out my biological research in French, but it wasn't exactly the job getting resume, but it set me up to do what I love and to study what I love and to have the background in both of those areas. And then after college, I got a job. I was working at Wild Oats Market. And for those of you who remember or who know, like that was like, this was in Boulder. So the mothership of Wild Oats was there. And Whole Foods eventually bought them out or tried to buy them out or whatever. And so they were like the Whole Foods. It's where I met my husband. Different story, different day. But when I was in theater in college, I don't know, why am I talking about Wild Oats? No, oh yes, because I went to a naturopathic doctor and it changed my life. She changed my life and everything shifted for me. But actually it was some of you have heard this story because I've told it in some webinars. But the theater part, when I was in college, I'm backtracking a little bit here, we didn't have understudies. And so the director came to us once and said, you can't get sick. Like the show has to go on. We don't have understudies. So he gave us a list of things to do if we got sick, things to take, and how much sleep to get, and yada, yada. And I remember thinking, and I was however old, 19, 20, 21. I remember thinking, if these changes will have an effect when I'm sick, what impact might they have on my health if I implement some of these things when I'm healthy? And that's when I started to change how I ate and how I think and how I moved and how I took care of myself, and realized how much control we have over our own health. So I know as we get older, the reason I'm telling you this story is because I know as we get older, we start to feel we don't have control. This is just aging. This is just how it has to be. There are certain things that, yes, happen as we get older, but it doesn't have to suck and you can thrive. I used to see 90-year-olds when I would hike the Flatirons in Boulder at like 10 in the morning because I wasn't a morning person. There would be 90-year-olds on their way down from the top of the mountain. And I remember thinking, that is where I want to be when I'm 90. That's how I want to feel. So we can be dragged into older age, or we can, pickleball our way in, or, hike our way in. And so you do have control. The things you eat matter. How much sleep you get matters. How you manage stress matters. Your paradigm and how you work with your subconscious and your self-talk and your belief of what's possible and what's not possible matters. All of these things matter. Your gut health matters. And we have control over all of it. We really, really do. And that's one of the things that I want you to come away inspired. But when you do this subconscious work, it's such a game changer, because when we talk foundations, I talk about gut health and like building this vision of health and this picture of health and this house of health or body of health or whatever you want to look at it on a solid foundation. And all of these pieces play into that solid foundation, and any tools you add, they can be helpful, but you'll get the best effect if you do it in a strategic way. Which brings us into August. All right. August, we're going to talk about the gut for the month of August. I really want to change like how you understand your body. And so we're going to talk about gut health, but not the parasite cleanse version. All right. The real clinical version. We're going to go deep on what the gut is actually doing and why it's connected to everything: your hormones, your mood, your weight, your energy, your skin, your allergies, your autoimmune. And we're going to go into the gut hormone connection specifically, which is super fun. And I have a very special guest this month, Dr. Kim Bretz, and she's a naturopathic doctor and she's a gut health expert who's going to help us cut through all the noise. Always love studying from her, and I'm super excited to have her as a guest on the podcast. So this is going to be a shorter episode, keeping it brief, and really want you to think about, what did you take away? What was your takeaway? And where are you making those next steps to really take control? And, yes, work with mentors, work with experts that can help give you the strategy and the guidance and see your blind spots. But we have to take ownership as well of how we're thinking and what we're doing and what I see. There's just so many missing pieces. When I interview people or talk to people about like what's maybe the right health plan for them, there are very, very few that actually have all the pieces that of the puzzle, the pillars of health. Like when we go back to those legs of a stool, if you have 3 of 4, it's still not a solid chair or stool, right? If you have 2, it's even weaker if you have 1. And so there are very few people that actually have all of these pieces in place. And sometimes they had them, but at different times and in the wrong order. And that's why I go through all this with you. I just really want you empowered to know you can feel really good and have your outside match your insides and be, I don't want to say aging backwards. That sounds so cliche and like not real, but I believe we can keep feeling better and better. I really, really do. And you deserve to thrive. So stop settling for less. And thank you for spending July with me, truly. And this month meant a lot to me to share with you because I am wildly passionate about mindset work. That's why I do separate mindset programs. So keep doing the work. Keep impressing the new idea. Keep watering that garden to be able to reap the harvest that is your deepest desires. And I will see you in August, where we're going to go deep on your gut, your hormones, what your body has been trying to tell you, and how to learn to listen and work with it for maximum benefit. So thank you all so much, and have an amazing day. Thank you for joining me on this episode of UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your health journey, one that nourishes not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please leave a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. And remember, true wellness is a journey, and you are on the right path.